All right. Mike here, back with you in a new lesson. This lesson is a big one, folks. Everything that we do in the marketing and sales space is going to hinge on us totally nailing this one, okay? And this is really what it comes down to, and that is that we need to have absolute message clarity. We need to know without a shadow of a doubt who it is that we're talking to, what it is that they need, and then how to convey that in a clear and concise way so that they actually understand that we know what they want and what they need. All right. Now, this may sound somewhat simplistic, but what's really, really interesting is that you cannot confuse simple with easy. Those are two very different things. All right. So here's what we're going to cover in this lesson: selecting your niche. We're going to talk about message clarity, which is going to be your competitive edge. And then we're going to achieve that rather with the who, what, how template. This is a key component here. It's going to really allow you to take your strategy and what it is that you offer into the marketplace and clarify it in a way that's very easy to convey. And we're going to talk about the power of simplicity. Now, Albert Einstein nailed it with this one. He says, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. And that's so, so true. You do not want to confuse being simple as being easy or less valuable. Simple is the most highest level of sophistication, in my opinion, because simple means that you've taken the complex and you've turned it into something that is palatable, that's simple for someone to do. And that is essentially what we're doing here in the consulting space, is taking something that's normally very difficult for somebody and making it achievable. So selecting your niche. Don't go after what niche you think will be most profitable. Instead, ask yourself, what can I do to help people the most? That's the key here. It's not about having a great idea. We've kind of talked about this already, but I really want to underscore this one. You don't need to come up with an idea. You don't need to figure out what business or what service you should offer. That's the wrong way to look at it. What you want to be doing is what is out there in the marketplace that is in need, is a problem, is a challenge. There is a gap between where people are and where they want to be. Define what that gap is, and then make sure that it's in alignment with your abilities and strengths, or your ability to go figure out how to make it happen. That is the way to decide on your niche. So it's just a very rather simple, different way of looking at it, but it will really help clarify what it is that you're doing. Now, one of the ways that I like to go about this and to make sure that we have actual message clarity is what I call the dinner table test. So imagine you have a new girlfriend or boyfriend and you're sitting down to dinner with their parents for the very first time. The father leans over and says, "So, what do you do?" If you cannot answer that question in one sentence to a degree where the father knows exactly what you do without having to ask any follow-up questions, then you don't have a clear business. This is critical, and what I find pretty interesting is that even people that have been in the game for a long time, they struggle with this when we start working with them, because they realize, wait a second, I'm not able to clearly convey to my marketplace what it is that I do in a way that doesn't require a 3-paragraph description. Okay, so we really need to take the complex, distill it down to its core components, and then make it so that it's easy to convey to the marketplace. This is critical, folks, and I'm going to give you a template for how to do it right now. So you must be able to complete this statement. I help who to what by how. So who is the audience? What is the goal or solution that it is that you are able to help them achieve? And then how is your process or service for actually accomplishing that? So I help who to what by how. Everything in the sales and marketing arena hinges on having 100% clarity here. Invest any amount of time needed in order to get this figured out before any other steps. It's that critical. And it truly is, folks, because if we don't have this information, we can't build an offer and put it out in the marketplace. We have to know what this is. Now, let me preface that by saying that does not mean that if you don't nail it down 100% perfectly this one time, that you can't proceed. Like we've already discussed in previous lessons, I want you to have forward progress. I want you to move forward, but with imperfect action. Just understand that very likely you're going to go out in the marketplace with your hypothesis and go, hey, this is what I think the market wants. This is what I think how I'm going to offer that solution. You're going to put it out there. You're going to start communicating, engaging with your market, which we're going to teach you how to do. And then you're going to realize, wait a second, as I'm in this process of engaging with the market, as I'm in the process of talking with people, what I'm finding is that it's this or it's that or something slightly different, or I need to change the way that I convey how I offer the service. You're going to have all kinds of different variables starting to hit you, and you're going to collect that data and then start making more defined and research-based decisions on how to iterate your message. Again, this is version 1.0, then version 2.0, then 3.0, right? So you're going to just keep coming back, fine-tuning it repeatedly until you really nail it down. I will encourage you, and I want to frame expectations here, that you should expect this process. If you're not in the market at all, you've never put out an offer in the marketplace, I want you to understand that this process right here of absolutely nailing your sentence, your offer to the market, can take some time. But I don't want you to get stuck here. All right. And I'm going to arm you with tools to make sure that you don't. But I want you to understand that we want to move forward with imperfect action. We want to just get it out in the marketplace, start stress testing it, knowing that it's very likely going to evolve over time. But we do need to have at least a baseline, a starting point. We can't just kind of go, okay, yeah, I'll figure that out as I go. No, it doesn't work like that. We need to start somewhere. And that's exactly what I want you to use this template for. So here's some examples just to give you some more clarity. I help brand new moms, which would be the audience, to lose 10 pounds of baby weight, which would be the goal or solution, by implementing my 40-day fitness plan. That would be your process or service, okay? Or I help website developers, your audience, to get new clients, which is the goal or solution, by advertising on Facebook, which would be your process or service. So it's very simple to do. But again, if I talk to someone brand new, never met them before, and they said, hey, Mike, what do you do? Oh, I help website developers to get new clients by advertising on Facebook. They don't need to ask me any more questions. They're like, oh, okay, great. Now they might go, whoa, that sounds interesting. So how's it work? Or what do you they may expand on it, but I wouldn't need to continue, or I wouldn't need to answer more questions in order for them to truly understand what it is that I actually deliver. So again, as simple as this may appear, you may find it's not quite as easy to accomplish. Remember, simple and easy are not always the same thing. Now, the power of simplicity. As a consultant, your ability to simply simplify complex information and communicate it clearly to your clients is essential for building trust and credibility. By striving for clarity and simplicity in your communication, you can demonstrate your expertise and help your clients achieve their goals more effectively. One of the most powerfully influential elements that you can have when you're out there communicating with your market is to be able to take some of the market feedback, and I'm going to show you how to capture this, and convey it and put it out in the marketplace so simply that it's almost like you're reading their minds, or that you're literally able to convey their problems and clarify what it is that they're actually dealing with better than they even themselves thought that they could. This is a really powerful position to be in because it will put you as a place of authority in your marketplace. And again, this all goes back. You can kind of see how this is starting to build on top of each other. We need to know who we're talking to first before we can identify a gap in the market. Once we identify a gap in the market, we need to have clarity as to how we're going to solve that. See what I'm saying? So all these pieces build on top of each other. And that's why these lessons are built right up early into the program, because everything else hinges on having these in place. So again, as recap, don't confuse simple as easy or less valuable. Just because maybe something is relatively easy for you to do because of your background, skill set, etc., that doesn't mean it's less valuable, but it needs to be a painful problem. It needs to be a valuable problem. Okay, remember, like we talked about in the prior lesson, where if it's easy for you to do, if it's not hard for you to fulfill, that's fine as long as it's not easy and hard, simple for other people to fulfill, right? Because if it's just a mundane task that you're doing, well, then it's not going to be very valuable, and you're not going to be able to charge much of anything to solve that problem. So make sure it's a valuable problem that you're solving, but don't confuse the simplicity of that as being, easy for them to do, and or that it's less valuable for them to get done. As consultants, primary task is to make the complex simple. So we take the very complex problems, we break it down so it's easy. It's a simple step-by-step process. We're going to talk to you about how to convey your offer and how to develop your offer so that you can guide people from a complex solution, something that would be very, very difficult for them to do on their own. You're going to break that down into simple steps that makes it much more achievable for them. And then lastly, your message will resonate with your ideal client, but no one else. And that's another component, is that you want to make sure that when you're speaking to somebody, it's like you have clarity of who they are. I help who, to what, right? You need to know what that is. Not everybody. Remember, marketing to everybody is marketing to no one. So you want to have clarity of who your audience is, what it is that you offer, and how that gets done. Who, what, how. Excellent. All right, the next lessons, especially if you're feeling stuck right now, you're not 100% sure exactly what your who, what, how template would look like, move on to the next lesson. We're going to talk about analysis paralysis and how to make sure that you don't get stuck. This is a really important step because this is the launch pad of helping you get your offer out into the marketplace as we get into module 3. Okay, awesome guys, we'll see you in the next lesson.